MSC Cruise Cast is a Triple T production. Now, the Taste Try Travel team of Beth and Chris.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Beth, are you nervous?
I'm a little nervous. He started playing the music and I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe that's why we don't do live.
Because it's going out live.
No.
No, this is not live. So,
well, hi, everyone. I am Beth.
And I am Chris, and we're the team as Melinda, our voiceover gal.
Oh, Melinda.
Said in the intro. We're the team of Taste Try Travel.
At Triple T Productions.
Thanks,
we're getting
Melinda.
Our name in all over the place there.
So.
Well, that was a silly little intro, but
here it is. It's the inaugural episode. Welcome.
MSC Cruise Cast. So, as it sounds, we are talking about MSC.
All things MSC. We're not going to ignore other cruise lines, but this podcast is going to focus mainly on MSC.
Exactly. But first, let's tell you what we're going to do in this episode. First, we're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves if you don't know much about us. We're going to tell you a little bit about our channel. I'm going to share some about MSC Cruises. I think a lot of people think they're new to the market. So I want to share some of their history. And then we're going to let you know kind of how these podcasts are going to work in the future, kind of what we're going to be talking about. And does that sound it? Did I get everything without looking at my notes?
Well, you can look at your notes, but I think that covers it.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are we starting with?
We're starting with us.
With us.
Yeah.
We've been married since 1999.
24 years.
24 years.
Yeah.
25 years this year.
Yay.
Wow. But we've been cruising since the 80s, or at least I have been cruising since the 80s.
Yeah, he said that earlier, and I was like, I was born in 78. I don't think I was cruising in the 80s. Probably the 90s started for me.
Probably if you cruised in the 80s, you were in a solo cabin. My first cruise was 1982.
With your family. Yeah.
With my family on the Starward.
Norwegian?
Norwegian Caribbean Cruise Line at the time. It was called Norwegian.
Right.
NCCL.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've been cruising for 40 years. That's ridiculous when I say that. I'm not that old, am I?
You were not that old. You started young, though.
Yeah, I did.
And we actually went on a cruise together with our youth group, right, from church before. Well, we kind of knew each other then, but
we knew each other, but we weren't married. So we've actually been cruising together longer than we've been married.
Not many people can say that.
That was like 3 years before we were married.
Yeah.
That we were on that Carnival cruise out of Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
Or is it San Diego?
No, it was out of San Diego because it just went down to Ensenada and then back. Yeah. So it was just like a nothing cruise, but something we probably wouldn't even do today.
No, we would try to avoid that cruise probably.
But I was a travel agent right out of high school. So that was like a high school job for me. And then kind of for the couple years after. So when we were first married, we got to do a couple early on in our marriage.
Yes.
And we loved it.
We did. We were on a Holland America.
I was going to say that Holland America we still remember. Yeah,
cruise, like maybe 3 or 4 months after we were married, I think.
And it was an Alaska cruise, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
No, that was just along the west coast. Yeah. And we saw whales and dolphins and all sorts of wildlife. And
I just
fell in love with cruising as a couple.
Exactly. So. And then you could just sit down and have a wonderful dinner. You didn't have to pay for it. And it just felt like, it was a really cool experience. So we've been doing that a long time. And really, I know some of you know like the beginning of our channel, but really we got to a point where we questioned a lot in our life, right? In early 2020, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so we spent the next 2 years, year and a half almost, kind of going through treatment and recovery for that. But while we were going through kind of treatment, we really kind of questioned. Well, we worked a lot, right?
Yeah, I was going to say in 2019, before you were diagnosed, we thought about starting a channel.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, how are we going to make that work? So we kind of filmed. We were on a cruise. We kind of filmed during that cruise.
But we didn't know what
we
we were
didn't know,
doing.
yeah, what we were doing, or we went right back to work right after we were,
and then it kind of got lost.
We were working at Disney, and they, for anybody that's watching this that works at Disney, they will suck the life out of you if they can.
Yep.
It's a great place to work, but they will use you until you are used up.
Yeah.
So,
and there's a lot of jobs like that too, where you just kind of get involved back in life. And I think that, when I got sick, it was a really good wake up call, right? Like, you're so replaceable at work. You're so replaceable, but your family, you're not replaceable. And so that's when we decided, you know what? Chris is fantastic at editing. If you've watched any of our videos, you know that. And so he has this really cool gift of editing, and we both love what we do, and we think it comes across really good on camera. So that's when we kind of made a pact that we were going to not just go back to our work life. We were going to make this a priority. So what do? 3-4 cruises a year, something like that we've been able to do. So, and we've sacrificed a lot for it, but we love this channel. So.
Exactly. I mean, we realized when you were going through the treatment that we've got to reprioritize.
Exactly. Yeah.
And fell into doing this again, and absolutely love every single minute of it.
You guys don't even understand. Like, even when we're not cruising and Chris is putting out the videos, we are loving comments that come in and the interaction we have with all of you guys. So
I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting in here or watching TV or whatever I'm doing, and Beth comes running in. Hey, let me read you this comment.
I know. It's really, really cool. And a lot of you guys have direct messaged me for more information and more questions and details. And it's really kind of taken over our life. And now work is the back burner, right? Work is just what we have to do to get on the next ship, to keep this going. So a huge thank you to all of you guys for your participation. How long has our channel been on? Are we at 2.5 years now? Is that about what it is?
I really don't know.
I surprised you with the question. Right. But we've been able to do a lot of cruise lines. You can look at our playlist on our channel. We've done, I think we've done Princess, Carnival,
Holland America.
Well, not on the channel. We haven't done Holland America.
Well, but I'm just saying the ones we've been on.
Yeah.
NCL, Royal.
And then last year we did MSC Seashore. That was our very first MSC cruise. The beginning was pretty awful. Probably the worst boarding experience we've ever done.
Yeah, let me go over that, because that kind of touches some stuff that I think a lot of people are comment about, and that's, we had done our research. We always do tons of research before we pick a cruise. That's why lots of times we book cruises at the last minute, because we're doing so much research and we're like, oh, this one fits.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we had done a lot of research on MSC, and as you guys have seen, it was not good. A lot of people did not like MSC. I would say when we were, I think it's coming around, but when we were looking, that was good almost 2 years ago, but a year and a half ago when we were looking, there wasn't much good out there.
Right.
So
at least all the videos that were on YouTube and things like that.
Right. So our first impression was not good, but we want to give it a try because they're starting to really come on in the American market. So we were like, we want to try them.
Right.
And then we got to Miami, and our first experience was rough to say the least. And
it's funny because we don't show a lot of the negative things that happen on the channel, and I know we're going to get a little bit better about showing the real. We really do show a lot, but when things get really tough, a lot of times we turn the camera off, and we turned the camera off several times that day.
we got in a line to get into the building. Then once we were in the building, we got in another line.
Yeah.
And it was just pandemonium in that line.
Yeah.
Then we got through, I don't even remember what that line was. what you had to do to get to that line. But anyway, I got in
like
that
one
line.
was going through security, and then you had another one to check in.
Like 45 minutes. Then we got through and we're like, oh, great, we're on. So we went up the escalator and there's another line.
Yeah.
Gigantic line. It's pandemonium again. It was just, so literally when we went upstairs to see that line, I turned to Beth and went, I don't know if we're ever going to do MSC again.
Yeah.
We got through the line. It took about an hour and 45 minutes, I think, to get through that line to get on the ship. But then from then on,
well, no, that whole first day we struggled. So well,
it's
and
true.
I don't need to go over all, but it was not the best boarding experience. And then I think as the week went on, we really everything, we started falling in love with how they were doing it, and everything just felt a little different and felt unique and felt like it kind of breathed a new fresh air of cruising for us. And so and then we did the MSC Meraviglia, and that was I don't even know. Yeah, that was last year, wasn't it? Yeah. So the end of last year. And again, we did Yacht Club, and we were just fell in love again, I think, with them.
Blown away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of the things that people really have a problem with on MSC, I think, are things that we actually enjoy. Don't enjoy the line, the mess that it is to get on the ship. Yeah. They're working on that in Miami. They're building their terminal, which should be done pretty soon, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
But a lot of people don't like the foreign aspect of MSC with a lot of foreign passengers.
Right.
We love it.
A lot of Europeans and Japanese we found.
Yeah, we love that.
People don't like the food.
Don't like the food. I can remember one dish that I didn't like on MSC, and that's it.
I know.
And it was just because the fish had been overcooked. And that was literally, but the taste, I'm telling you, we love it. Anyway, we'll go over that in future episodes. We're going to cover all sorts of stuff in MSC.
Yep.
But that's kind of what I think you're getting to, is what led to the podcast here, right?
And we have, like I said, we've had our channel for a little bit, and we have really great connections with you guys. And I
thought you were going to say really great connections in MSC, and I was getting excited.
I don't have connections yet.
Surprise for me. We're going to be the MSC ambassadors. We're announcing that on our first episode.
Woo! No, we want to be there, but we're not there yet. But we've had great connections with you guys, and we've wanted to do something but live shows are just not our jam, right, Chris? I don't know. There's some people that do them really good. We have some friends, Ronnie and Teresa Gilbert with the Traveling Gilberts, that do
their link up real quick while you're talking about them.
A really fun live every week, and they're great. But that hasn't been what we felt we would be really good at. And so we've been wanting to figure out something. So then we come up with this idea that we've been talking about between ourselves for a little bit, that we're really going to focus on MSC, and we're going to really start cruising all their ships. We're going to start really, I don't want to say focus again. I feel like I just said that, but
we're going to kind of what it is.
Our channel's going to kind of keep getting, more and more intense on what MSC offers. And so,
can I just
go
say
ahead
real quick? On our regular channel, we're going to cruise a lot of different ships. We're not going to ignore other ships,
right?
Because there's lots of good cruise lines out there, and lots of neat ships we want to get on.
Yeah,
we're gonna probably tend to default to MSC on that channel,
right?
But on the podcast, we want to focus on MSC because why?
Nobody else is doing it, and I really want there's a lot of what Chris was saying earlier. There's a lot of negativity about what MSC brings to the U.S. market, and we find that we love that. And so we found this this emptiness, right? There's nobody really like talking about
a big sucking void.
Yeah, there's a void in the market right now.
Nothing there.
There's not a lot of cruise podcasts, number one. I mean, we've been searching and we haven't found very many. And so
just a couple.
I find that I like listening to podcasts as we're driving or I'm heading to work, all this. And I think that'd be really cool to have a podcast about cruising, but even more focused on MSC. So we found that void and we're trying to fill it.
Exactly. There's so many questions out there about MSC.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
I mean, we get questions constantly.
Yes.
I hope that I'm answering everybody. Lots of times I don't see them.
Right.
Between Beth and I, we try to catch every question that we get, but there's so many that we can't. So we're hoping that we cover in this podcast. We cover a lot of those questions there's a lot of questions, but
other
fun stuff.
Exactly. There
MSC,
are the same questions also being asked over and over and over. I'm part of several Facebook forums, and of course we get people that message us directly, and we keep finding that people need more information. So that's where we want to kind of have this where we can answer a bunch of your questions. So if you're thinking about trying MSC for the first time, or you want to go back on MSC and maybe do an upgrade, maybe thinking about doing Yacht Club, we want to be the people that you find those answers from. So that's kind of another reason that we have this podcast.
Because we're going to give it to you straight.
That's right. Oh, and we are also a hashtag filter-free channel.
Wow.
I saw that the other day and I thought that was true, right? So whatever you see, we aren't paid by anybody to say what we say. So we're just going to be honest and upfront with what we like and what we don't like. And then there's no beauty filters on us either.
Is that what the filter-free channel is?
Well, it's both of them. Okay. So it kind of means both. But basically, we are what we are. And so
I'm looking at your levels and you're clipping. Let me turn your volume.
Is it because I hit?
It's just because you're a little bit closer, I think. Sorry, everybody, if those levels were really high. But anyway, go ahead.
We're learning this
technical,
too.
Yeah.
So anyway, filter-free. Our words are filter-free. So we're just going to be honest. And our faces are filter-free too. So I just want to make sure I mention that.
Right on.
I threw you.
I like how you
filter-free.
Did this. That's very, I don't know. I was going to say Swifty, but I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know anything about all that. All right, I just see stuff on news.
All right, so
where do you want to go?
We're going to move into the next section. Okay, I want to talk about a little bit of the history of MSC. So I know that a lot of you out there, a lot of people think that MSC is new. They're not.
They're not, but they're kind of new to
2013
cruising, right?
Well, 2013 is when they came into the U.S. market.
Really?
So that's about 10 years they've been in the U.S. market.
I didn't know that.
I know. I'm going to give you lots of stuff you didn't know. So
hashtag hit you with the facts.
That's right. So MSC Cruises is actually, their parent company is MSC, which is Mediterranean Shipping Company. I'm going to look at my notes a little bit for this so I get it right. Jean-Luigi Aponte started his.
Wow.
I know, Jean-Luigi.
I'm so impressed that you got that you said it that way.
I downloaded a pronunciation app so I could pronounce it correctly.
Right on, whatever to make it work.
So Aponte started his the MSC shipping company in 1970, and so he just bought a shipping cargo ship and was shipping around the Mediterranean, and the company continued to grow. 1970 is now 2024.
54 years.
MSC. So the actual Mediterranean shipping company is like cargo shipping, and they are the largest container shipping company in the world. Isn't that amazing? I didn't know that. I see MSC cargo ships kind of sometimes when we're going like in and out of ports.
I thought it would be Maersk, is that how they pronounce it?
Maersk.
Maersk, Maersk.
It's close, but actually the MSC shipping company is the largest by fleet size and cargo capacity. I think the other is worth just a little bit more money than them. But anyway, regardless, like MSC has the most cargo ships at sea today. Do you know how many they have? You have no idea because he hasn't looked at any of the history of this.
I literally have no idea. You want me to guess?
Yeah, go ahead and guess.
I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess 64.
64 cargo ships. That's a pretty bad guess. They have almost 800 cargo ships, and they have some of the largest out there in the world too.
Are there even 800 ports in the world?
Okay, so let me tell you, they have almost 800 vessels in 155 countries.
There's 155 countries.
I said the same thing. Okay, so then I had to Google, like, how many countries are there? And I feel ashamed that I did not even know. Do you know how many countries there are?
155.
They're not. There are 195 countries in the world.
You know what? Those other 39 countries, 49 countries they're not going to let MSC port in there.
That's right.
I don't know what that means.
They have almost 800 vessels in 155 countries. So what I'm trying to get to is, like, MSC shipping company is massive. It is huge, worldwide company. In 2015, they started train operations in Europe. So they actually have a way to deliver all of their cargo ships inland as well. And then in 2022, they started an air cargo. So they, like, have the market share of, like, shipping.
So they are the Amazon of the shipping world.
They are the Amazon and the Temu of shipping. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
They're as of last year, their worth was over $100 billion. Let that sink in for a second. They're massive. So how MSC Cruises, what are you laughing at?
And I'm deciding whether I want to order from the value meal or not, the value menu. $100 billion.
The other thing about this is it's still a family-owned company. The Aponte family still owns MSC Shipping, which is very rare nowadays. And the other company that you mentioned, Chris, the other shipping company, Maersk, is actually a conglomerate, and it's all it's definitely not family-owned. So that's kind of like the difference between them. Now, as far as MSC Cruises, that's kind of just another branch, right? So they have their shipping, they have the air cargo, they now have train, and then MSC Cruises is kind of like one of their little babies.
Right.
Yeah. So they actually started in the early 90s. Yeah.
I assume you'll cover like it. I don't know the history, so I'm going to let you go, but okay. I know that one of the daughters kind of heads the cruise portion, right?
Right.
Does that come later in your story? Or did she start it?
No, she didn't start it.
The cruising part.
I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
Okay.
Because I don't know where she plays a role.
Okay. I wasn't sure if she started it because I don't know how old these people are that you're talking about.
Right.
I assume that
Jean-Luigi.
He's probably elderly.
Yeah.
By now, unless he started at 6, ferrying people around Italy.
It's actually his son that's currently in charge.
Gotcha.
So I'm not sure exactly where she plays role, but I might have to find that out.
Okay.
So we can let everybody know.
Yeah, sure.
But as far as MSC Cruises started in the early 90s, and the MSC Shipping Corporation ended up with this branch, and they bought current couple small cruise lines in the Mediterranean. But it wasn't until 1996 where MSC Cruises actually built their first newly constructed ship, and that was actually built by Fincantieri, the huge shipyard in Italy, the biggest one in. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Fincantieri.
You don't know. So 1996 is when MSC
Expert on how to pronounce that. Fincantieri.
Built their very first cruise ship from MSC, and it's kind of gone up from there. So right now, MSC has 22 ships cruising currently, And to give you an idea, let's see, Carnival has 26 and Royal has about 36 ships. So kind of almost the same amount of ships that are currently cruising.
Are those do you know if those are the three biggest?
So right now, it's funny because you get different answers, different things
different
that you answer.
Welcome to the internet.
Right now, Carnival is first. So, and then Royal Caribbean, and then it's MSC is currently the third largest cruise line, but it's the first largest family owned.
Which I'm going to jump in here and talk just a little bit about that, because I know you did a lot of the history research, but I just want to say that's one thing that we really like about MSC is the family aspect of it. Things can change quicker at MSC.
Yep.
Things are, details are more important to MSC. They have, at the top, they have a passion for the ocean, and that filters
and that's why,
all the way down.
And
because it's family owned, it's not filtered through layers of committees and financial statements. I mean, they do all that stuff,
right?
But the ultimate say goes to that family member.
Exactly.
It's like, no, I want a private island that is a marine reserve.
And then
I don't want to just have a bunch of rides on the island. I want this to actually mean something. So that's one of the reasons we really like MSC. One of the reasons is
well, and number one, Ocean Cay is by far our favorite private island. We're going to cover that on another episode because there's a lot to talk about.
Yep.
But MSC Foundation, again, is something that we're going to talk about. And that's something a lot of people don't realize as well is they have this massive foundation about restoring a lot of the oceans because their entire company is on the ocean. I mean, they're shipping all these ships that they have. They understand what kind of impact they have on the ocean and are trying to reverse some of that.
Yeah, they're at least trying, which is something that I think is important.
It is. And I don't see any other, and I think what you're trying to say is we don't see any other, the larger cruise lines being like, hey, we have a stake and we're responsible for some of this. So,
well, I think that some of the cruise lines do understand that they have an impact and they make smaller steps. But as I was saying because it's family owned, they kind of know that, and they're trying to work it into everything that they do.
Right.
Trying to figure out how does that impact, and we're just talking about the MSC Foundation part. How does that impact the environment, the ocean? So,
well, exactly with what you're saying, and I'm going to just do a quick recap. Basically, MSC Shipping Company as a whole has been around since 1970. They've been in the U.S. market since 2013, and going along with what you said, they had been cruising in Europe for a while, and European cruising is different than U.S. cruising. The markets are really different, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to get a chance to go and do one of the European cruises so we can really show you guys the difference.
From what we understand, the difference, I mean, well, there's lots of difference, but what we understand, it's almost like a ferry service when you cruise in Europe.
So, for example,
Many
like
cruises.
in the Mediterranean, we're going to give you an example of the World Europa, which is one of the newest ships that they have. It just simply cruises in a circle, and you can get on and off at any point you want. You can take a 3-day cruise, you can take a 9-day cruise. So there's never like an embarkation day and a disembarkation day because everyone has different embarkation and debarkation. So it's going to be really interesting when we get a chance to do that, to see what it's like. But a lot of other things they tried to do. I mean, entertainment, food, all this kind of stuff that's part of cruising. When they came to America, when they came to the U.S. to do this market, they were not well received. The way that they used to do everything in Europe is the American market didn't like it, and I think that's where MSC got a lot of bad rap kind of starting, and then they started building purpose-built ships for the U.S. market.
U.S. market purpose-built.
Yeah, sure. And that started with the seashore, the sea view, the seaside, that whole class was built for this market, and they were able to see what wasn't working and what they wanted to change for this market, and they were able to rebuild. They built those ships for this market. Yeah.
So what you're saying is the American market loves pools with statues of mushrooms around them.
Was that on the Marivelia that we saw?
No, that was on
the seashore.
That was on that thing right there.
Some of their the way they decorate and all that, you kind of like, it still doesn't quite make sense, but like we're totally okay with that.
We're totally okay. It's not mushrooms. It's not such as mushroom, but the first thing I looked at the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that was, why is there mushrooms next to the pool? It doesn't make any sense. We love mushrooms in our pizza here in Italy. So
I'm going to finish my thought real quick.
Sorry.
You're good. So basically there's a lot of money. This company is worth a lot of money. And so they are not new. They have a lot of money and a lot of passion behind them because they're that family-owned company. And so I just want to kind of share that because a lot of people didn't know about their background. So, and what's really cool this is probably going to be on our next podcast. We're going to talk about the future of MSC.
The future of MSC. That's a good idea for our next
where
one.
they're going, where they're building ports, the new ships that are coming. They have a huge. Oh, hi. Our little baby came in to see us. Can you hear her tap 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 on the floor?
There she is. I actually have a picture of her ready to go because I knew she would come in at some point. Look at there she is. Oh,
her name is Stash.
That's Stash.
Yeah, so she came in to say hi. They have a lot of history. They're ready for the future. They're planning 10 to 15 years in the future about new ships that they have coming out. A lot of plan with the refurbishment of Ocean K, which is going to be happening this year.
In a couple months.
Yeah, it's going to be happening in a couple months. So there is a lot going on. So that moves us to kind of...
They just announced like a major... We'll get into that maybe in our next one.
But well, you teased it, but what a major what?
A major market. They're increasing it by 200%.
Yep. They have.
How about that was a number?
That was a number. That was your first number of the day.
I should have a graphic for Chris's first number of the day. Anyway, we'll get into that.
Yeah, well, that's kind of wraps up kind of the history of the company. But the other thing is they have a little sister branch of MSC Cruises called the Explora Journeys. And that... Explora. Well, the ship is called Explora.
It's not called Explora?
The ship is called Explora 1.
But the brand isn't called Explora?
Explora Journeys.
Explora Journeys?
I think so.
Not Explore Journeys?
I don't know. Do you need me to look it up?
No.
No, we'll do it on another ship. But anyway, it's basically a yacht club ship. It's like...
It's all yacht club.
It's very small, so it's more like maybe like a Seabourn or something like that, but it's all yacht club. So
remember in the movie WALL-E?
Yep.
With the chairs that they just sit in.
Yep.
And everything gets done.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens on the Explorer.
That's not what happened.
You get in the chair as soon as you get to the port.
You don't have to do anything else.
It just glides you onto the ship, and you just float around the ship for 7 days, and people stick grapes in your mouth, and people fan you. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure that's not.
Oh.
No, that's not.
Okay.
But that's another thing that we're going to talk about too, because they currently have one ship and they have 5 more ordered. So 5 more on the books.
5 more Explora
ships that are going to be coming out. So I think that this yacht club that they have has really, there's nothing else like it in the market. So, yeah, so we're excited to share all that information with you. But we also have some forums, like I said, we're going to be a part of, and there's lots of questions. So we're going to do some of these episodes that are just going to answer some questions for you guys.
Answer some questions that are out there and current.
Yeah.
You're going to do lots of research beforehand. At least you are.
That's right.
No, I'll do it too. I love looking at people's rants about MSC. That's what I want to say about this. feel free to rant about MSC if you're in the comments or anything in here, because this is not going to be a praise MSC podcast. This is going to be the MSC Cruise Cast.
Right. Good and
so
bad.
Good and bad. And I know that there are some frustrating parts of the MSC experience. There's some things that they definitely need to work on. And there's some people that have had not so great experiences.
Genuine, not good. Yeah. And let me say real quick that if we haven't said this before, MSC is our favorite cruise line. That does not mean that we think it's perfect.
No.
By any means.
No.
So we want to just be real clear about that too. There's a lot of things that we maybe they could work on too, but with all of their problems,
we're still searching for the perfect, which will never happen.
What? Cruise line? No, there will not. Yeah.
I mean, it's run by people, so there's always going to be.
There always is, and people have different likes and dislikes. So, but anyway, this podcast is going to come out every Thursday, so you can watch it here on YouTube. You can also listen to it, so that's what's kind of cool. So,
you go.
If you're on your way to work,
we're going to try to keep them about, 25, 35 minutes somewhere.
Yeah, because we're going to end up talking a long time, so we have to kind of edit.
Oh, we're at 36. Sometimes. We're already over on our first episode. Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Okay. That's kind of what we wanted to share. Our history, MSC's history, where we're going. And hopefully you guys, that was a good explanation of all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And tackling the enigma, the joy, the disappointments of MSC.
That's right.
That's what's going to happen on the MSC Cruise Cast. My thing went away.
There it is.
Oh, look at that. The MSC.
Oh, now we're going to start calling
Cruise Cast. Thanks.
That's all right.
Technology.
We'll work on these details. All right. I think that will wrap up what we have for this very first episode. Thank you for joining, and we'll look forward to getting your comments, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.